This is quite possibly the ugliest box cover art that I've ever seen. When you see a cover art that is this poorly designed, then you start asking yourself, who's in charge of this game's marketing team? Do they actually think this looks appealing? Or is this some kind of inside joke that I'm completely not grasping? These are questions that I asked myself when Contra Rogue Corps was announced. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, I found my first love for gaming on the NES, and the original Contra is the game that I'm most nostalgic for. I do believe that Super C and Contra Hard Corps are better entries in the series, but all these games are deeply engraved in my DNA. To this day, I can still do no death runs on all these original titles. Since the 16-bit era, entries in the titles have been hit or miss, and I can't honestly tell you the last time that I anticipated the release of a Contra game. All things considered, I wasn't planning on picking up Contra Rogue Corps on a release. Even though the game was only listed as a $40 title, I still thought I would wait for the reviews and possibly pick it up a few months down the road when the game dropped to $25. Then the day before its release, I saw that Best Buy was offering a $10 digital coupon for pre-orders, so I figured why not and placed my order. I picked it up on launch day and started playing it that night. Several hours into the game, I was really enjoying myself. There were obvious flaws with the game, most notably the horrific graphics, but overall, I was having a lot of fun with it. I found myself a bit curious to see how people were reacting to the game, so I started searching the good old YouTubes. To no surprise, I saw the usual suspects following the usual unoriginal trends, and while I can recognize and admit that Konami isn't the company today that it was when I was growing up, I also don't use them as a scapegoat for everything that's gone wrong in my life. I found that in every so-called review, it became more and more obvious to me that none of these guys had finished the game. They came in with preconceived opinions of the game based on the public's general hatred for Konami and the wretched graphics. They spent a few hours playing the game and then shoved out a lazy review that would fit popular narrative and give them the most views. During the over 70 hours that I spent with Contra Rogue Corps, I've had several conversations with people in the comment sections of videos that have shared my enjoyment with the game. So unlike these man-children who are too afraid to break away from the popular narrative of Konami ruins another beloved gaming franchise, I decided to actually finish the game, take my time, and bring you Contra Rogue Corps is a follow-up to Contra 3 The Alien Wars. It takes place 4 years after the government's Vortex Cannon wiped out the aliens. Unfortunately, the Vortex Cannon didn't wipe out the aliens, it instead blasted them into the past, creating a paradox, splitting the timeline and creating a parallel Earth, one in which humans had lost. These parallel Earths contradicted nature, so nature then merges the two Earths together and now emerges the Damned City, which becomes the epicenter. And the Damned Center is a gateway which releases all kinds of fiends that try to kill anything living. Along with the endless stream of fiends is the effects of being inside the damn city itself, which causes psychic damage, frying human brains. The only exceptions to this are the Jaegers, which are a combination of mercs, scrappers, and bounty hunters which are naturally immune to the effects of the city. This is where you come in. You take control of the Rogue Corps, which is a group of unlikely heroes that hold the fate of the world in their hands. The leader of the Rogue Corps is Kaiser, who is a war commander veteran that led a team of elite Contras during the Alien Wars. Next is Miss Harakiri, who is a famed assassin who merged with an alien known as Gutbuck to help her survive the Alien Wars. Gutbuck gives her special powers, but she has to keep a sword shoved in his mouth to keep him from possessing her body. Then there's the Gentleman. He's a brain bug experiment from the war-turned-scientist. He played a large part in creating the Hungry Beast. And the Hungry Beast is a cyborg panda body which houses the brain from a former scientist. I personally think they did a very good job with the character design, and the roster reminds me a lot of Contra Hard Corps on the Sega Genesis. I know the absence of Bill Reiser and Lance Bean was a pain point for many fans, but I think the new characters were a good addition to the Contra series. I also got a more in-depth story than I was expecting out of a Contra game. There's almost 30 minutes of vlogs to become accessible after completing certain missions. They do handle that a bit weird because they don't play automatically when they become accessible. You basically get prompted that you've unlocked a new vlog after completing a mission. You then have to go into your profile and access them. I like the fact that you can rewatch them when you want, but they should just play them when they're unlocked and give you the option to skip them if you want. I made it about halfway through the game and was like, what happened? Because I was really digging this story. Then I realized that I had several new vlogs in my profile. However, there is full voice acting, which seems fine to me, and I really like the overall art design that they used. I know I've heard complaints that the story is too over the top and ridiculous, but the original Contra had two dudes shirtless wearing bandanas fighting aliens with laser guns. So when I hear such ridiculous comments, then I just wonder if they've ever played a Contra game before. So while I really like the graphical style of the vlogs, the graphical style of the game itself, well, it's horrendous. This is an area where I can't really cut Konami any slack. Why they couldn't have used a similar graphical style in the game that they used in the vlogs just drives me crazy. Because if they could have came close to matching it, then it would have changed the perception of this game in a big way. So I will concede to any complaints about this game's graphics. I do have a theory as to why they went with the PS2 quality graphics, and I will touch on that later, but for now, let's move on. So the graphics suck. We've established that. Now, does bad graphics equate to a bad game? Not at all. Now, if you're the type of gamer that must have top-notch graphics, then this probably isn't the game for you. If graphics aren't a disqualifier for you, and you play games to actually have fun, then you may want to stick around for a while. The basic gameplay style is that of a twin-stick shooter. When you start the game, you'll have 2 missions which total 11 stages available to play, as well as a handful more of exploratory missions. You typically can play only one stage ahead of the current stage that you've beaten, so when you start, the first 2 stages are available, but once you've beaten the first stage, then the third stage is unlocked, and so on. This is important because it gives you the impression that there are only 2 missions to the main campaign with a total of 11 stages. But once you complete the second mission, then a third opens up, then a fourth, and so on. There end up being a total of 7 missions and 41 stages in the main campaign. This is relevant because I don't believe I've seen a review with gameplay past the second mission, and have a real problem with people putting out and labeling a video of the review when they've only played 20% of the game. So back to the stages and their format. The stages are timed usually between 25 to 50 minutes. You'll navigate through them fighting against a wide variety of fiends. You have your basic fiends which come in large hordes and carry a shovel. Then you have your ranged fiends which post up from a distance and typically take shots at you while you're dealing with the hordes. The ranged fiends will be equipped with either laser guns, grenade launchers, or missile launchers. Then there are these guys that have wheels for feet and make your life miserable until you learn how to handle them. There's several different variants of them. Some have knives for hands, some have buzzsaws, and so on. They tend to come in pairs of 2 or 4, and the good thing is that when you kill them, they'll drop you health shields. There's also these bee-like looking fellas that come in swarms and usually come from these hives. They will come at you non-stop until you destroy the hive. Next are these helicopter guys that self-destruct when you kill them and blow the daylights out of you. There's a couple of variants of these big hammer-carrying fiends that drop you shields if you stun them and then throw them. And my favorite is this lone bright orange-colored fiend that if you stun him and perform a special move, then he drops you a whole lot of goodies. You have a couple of variants of these big mounts that open up on the ground and really alter your movement until you dispose of them. There are also several different variants of turrets that can get to be overwhelming on some of the later stages. But as you navigate through each stage, you'll come to the doors or gates that section off one area from another. Sometimes you'll just be able to run through the gate, leaving all the fiends behind you. Other times you'll be forced to kill all the fiends in the area before you can move on. Along the way you'll find several crates which will be filled with an assortment of items including shields, bombs, 1-ups, credits, weapon upgrades, or body parts. There will be an assortment of special weapons that you will find along the way. These consist of spread shot, giant laser, and missile launcher. Their power is unaffected by your current loadout and will time out after you've exhausted them. You'll also have to deal with some slight platforming challenges as you make your way through the stage. Admittedly, the platforming is not this game's strength and it could be a little smoother, but at the same time it wasn't broken nor did it negatively impact my experience with the game. On some stages you'll also encounter shooting gallery sections, which once again could have been done much better. I like what they were trying to go for here, but these segments do tend to be a little bit broken and glitchy, and depending on your loadout at the time, you may not even be able to progress past them. All in all, they would have been better off leaving these shooting galleries out. They do mix the stage format up a little bit, as they have some stages formatted in a straight horde mode. For these, you may just be stuck in the same general area and then have to battle through 4 to 8 waves of fiends and sub-bosses. I love these and found them to be a good change of pace from the normal stages. So at the end of each stage, you'll usually have a large onslaught of enemies, which oftentimes include multiple sub-bosses as well. Most of these sub-bosses were at one point in time bosses, but after you defeat them for the first time, they'll be back time and time again. Especially these standing elephant looking guys, where I think there are at least 6 different variants of them. When you've cleared all the enemies, then you will escape to the transport. Upon completion, you will receive level progression on the main and sub-weapon in your current loadout. You get to see all the loot that you picked up as well as any rewards you received. These will be new weapons, weapon upgrades, or body parts. There will be grades ranging from D to S from your time left, total enemies defeated, and total damn spirits collected. Then an overall grade based upon the combination of the three factors. Now, as far as the level design itself, I think they did a really good job being creative and making the stages interesting and putting you in fun and challenging situations. Unfortunately, they do reuse most stages, as most stages you will revisit a second time. They do try to mix it up by either using different enemy combinations in different areas or just increasing the strength of the fiends and increasing difficulty. This got a little annoying, and I did feel like they were just trying to be lazy to extend the game. However, you do get well over 20 original stages that are a lot of fun to play through. There are 4 major stage themes that they use. There is the basic urban theme, then the jungle theme, the frozen theme, and then the alien theme. Most of the 6th and 7th mission stages consist of the alien theme, and these are by far the best stages. So while you do get tired of replaying certain stages along the way, at least there is a rewarding payoff if you stick with the game. Now let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. I mentioned before that this is a twin-stick shooter, but you really have a large variety of ways to attack. You have your main weapon, your sub-weapon, bombs, a dash attack, and each character has their own specialized skill. You can also use your dash attack to stun enemies, which will then allow you to pick up and throw the enemies. Your main and sub-weapons will both overheat with use, and then be inactive while they cool down for a few seconds. Your bombs will be limited to how many you have in your inventory, but usually pick up a few as you progress through the stage. Each character's special skill will only last for a set time, and when exhausted you will have to wait for it to charge back up before using it again. So there has been a lot of complaints about the weapon heat up and cooldown system. And my response to this is plain and simple. You are doing it wrong. Once you figure it out, it's almost like a beautiful dance you perform while firing your main weapon, then dashing and dashing through a horde while switching to your sub-weapon and firing off several times, then dashing and dashing again while switching back to your main weapon, and so on. Once you find the rhythm you were intended to find, then the combat becomes addicting and you realize why the people that enjoy this game really actually enjoy this game despite all its flaws. Another issue that I've heard is that the spread shot is only a timed special weapon, which is not completely true because it's also Kaiser's skill. His skill is called the Magnum Ignition, and it fires an explosive spread shot of bullets at set intervals during both his main and sub weapon attacks. In addition, his heat up rate decreases while his cooldown rate increases. Miss Harakiri's skill is the Max Drive, which increases her speed and weapon attack power for a set amount of time. Hungry Beast's skill is the Panda Formation, which spawns many turrets for temporary support. The turrets are destroyed when they take a certain amount of damage from enemies. Then there's the Gentleman's skill, which is a micro black hole. This splits out a wormhole that deals damage to enemies. The wormhole will also suck in and immobilize small enemies. If you're that dead set on having a spread weapon, then just roll out with Kaiser. The lack of a full-time spread gun was admittedly a letdown to me at first, but once I started seeing how deep the weapon lineup was and how much variety there was, then I could care less. There are a total of 10 different weapon categories. You have machine guns, laser guns, shotguns, crush guns, gauss guns, drill guns, homing guns, fire guns, mines, and blades. You start out with 4 main weapons and 4 sub-weapons. One of each is assigned to each character, but you can swap weapons between characters, so all weapons in essence are community weapons, which is a small detail but huge bonus in my book. Along the way you will either collect new weapons or be rewarded them as you complete stages. You'll then have to go to the workshop to develop them. You develop weapons with a combination of credits and materials. Selecting the materials can be a bit tedious, so I always just pick the auto-select materials. Now I stated that there are 10 weapon categories. In these categories you will have different variants of some of the weapons, but with a different affinity. There are 3 different affinities as you got Pyro, Venom, and Omeric, which is a type of paralysis. Other than having the same weapon with different affinity, you also have completely different weapons types in that class. In total, I currently have a total of 57 different weapons, which is a combination of main and sub-weapons. I have no idea how many different weapons there actually are, as I've seen gameplay from other players that have weapons that I still haven't acquired yet. So not only does the game have a boatload of different weapons, there is also a very deep weapon upgrade system built into the game. To start with, you have different weapon classifications. Gray is common, green is uncommon, blue is rare, purple is epic, and gold is legendary. Yeah, pretty sure they just copy and pasted that classification system from Fortnite. Anyway, so all the weapons you are equipped with to start the game are uncommon level 1. As you play through the game, you will level up the weapons you used in your loadout. Once you get your weapons to level 5, then you can upgrade it. This could be weapons, attachments, or body parts. So while there is a wide variety of weapons and some are completely badass, you will still come across some weapons that you really don't care for, and you can just trade them in for credits. I was midway through mission rank 2 and still using my starter weapons. I was having fun, but the difficulty seemed to have increased quite a bit. This is when I decided to dive in and actually start developing and upgrading weapons. I found some weapons that I absolutely loved. He's looking at you, Crush Gun. This was a game changer for me, as I was now starting to destroy fiends that were just handling me moments ago. But yeah, the Crush Guns are the truth. There's several variants of them, and all the ones that I tried I really enjoyed. Then later on down the road, I got this upper punch drill gun that I used as my sub-weapon, and this thing was amazing. So essentially this is a steel-fisted rocket-powered uppercut, and I can't begin to put in words how satisfying it is when you hit one of those stupid snipers with this thing and watch them go flying off the board. Now, something that could be upsetting to some players is that you have no control over which weapons you are rewarded, meaning that you can't just earn a bunch of credits and buy what you want. There's an element of luck involved here, which is why I have no idea how many weapons there actually are in the game. This method does, however, make the process of completing a stage and seeing what drops and rewards you've accumulated very fun. Whenever I got a new weapon, I was very excited to run to the workshop and develop it to see what it fired like. So I could talk about weapons all day, but we need to move on. Along with weapons, you'll also be receiving a whole lot of attachments at the end of stages. The attachments, just like weapons, will be classified from uncommon to legendary and also have a level rank. When you go into the workshop to customize your weapons, you will see that all your main and sub-weapons have available storage. The amount of storage will be determined by what classification and rank the current weapon is. So upgrading a weapon will decrease the available storage for that weapon. Using the attachments, you will be able to alter your weapon quite a bit. And you can combine or stack attachments to help address any shortcomings that a specific weapon may have, including base damage, affinity damage, fire rate, critical rate, status ailment rate, cool rate, heat up rate, and recovery time. So when you hear reviews complaining about weapons overheating too fast or taking too long to cool off, it's because they didn't take the time to put the proper attachments on their weapon. When you start collecting higher level attachments, you will find some that will even fire an additional shot when you use your weapon. These I found really cool and almost always equipped one. And just like weapons, you can sell off any additional or duplicate attachments that you have. And you will have tons of these things, so be prepared to sell. Next up is body parts, which you also acquire by playing through stages. You take them to the surgery room and you can assign them to characters via transplantation. In this process, I admit I don't really understand. It gives you 3 options for transplantation. Dr. Elder, which is the free option, and then 2 other options that were way too expensive for me to ever try. I kept thinking that the free one would fail during some of the transplants and I'd lose my body part, but I never had an issue. So the question then is this just a trick, or does using the expensive options upgrade your character even further? If you have an answer to this, then please leave a comment below. But you have 4 different body parts to equip, and just like everything else, they are classified from uncommon to legendary and have a level rank assigned to them. There are too many benefits to the body parts for me to cover here, but I'll mention just a few to give you an idea. Increased lives, increased shield and bombs, increased cool rate, decreased burn rate, increased speed, increased credits earned, and so on. These can drastically improve your character itself, so I'd highly advise visiting the surgery room often. I always waited until I had all my characters equipped with a particular body part rank and then just went ahead and sold off everything of a lower classification. For example, once I had purple body parts on all my characters, I sold off all gray, green, and blue parts that I owned or acquired going forward. You get a pretty penny for them, so no need to hold on to extras. So aside from the main campaign, there are also exploration missions. The format for these will be a little bit different. To start with, you will need to have a minimum amount of credits. You will have 5 difficulty levels ranging from easy to Contra that you select from. The higher the difficulty level, the more credits you'll need to risk to attempt the mission. Now, if you bet 5,000 credits, you don't win 5,000 credits for completing the mission. However, if you don't complete the mission, then you will lose those 5,000 credits you risked. Now the goal of these missions is to simply make it to the end alive before time expires. And if you do, then there will be a treasure waiting for you at the end. I believe that the more you risk will determine the size of the treasure waiting for you at the end of the stage. So the missions will be broken up into 4 sections, and at the end of each section, you escape to the transport. You'll see some different colored crates in here that are in the main campaign missions, and I believe that overall you collect more loot, given that you make it to the end to collect the treasure. I found that the hordes seem to be almost endless, sometimes as they continue to respawn in some areas. You can, for the most part, just run through most sections if you want until you come to the sub-boss. You then may have to defeat him before you can progress. When you replay the exploration mission, then sections are usually on a rotation, so that it's not always formatted the same every time. There will be health shield crates along the way, but sub-bosses and fiends on the wheels won't drop shields like they do in normal missions. You can play through these in co-op, and if you lose all your lives, your partner can revive you, given that he's not dead as well. One cool thing that I've noticed is that when you play through in single player, then at the end it will not only level up the character that you use loadout, it will also level up the loadout of the other 3 characters as well. I thought this was pretty interesting, and I'm not sure if that's a bug or not, but I liked it. Also, there are 4 exploration missions available, and I've completed the 3 of them currently. It showed me that the 4th mission is locked. It's telling me that I need to clear the Phoenix Killer mission, which I have, and also obtain the Phoenix Killer more S ranks. So not sure what this means. I obtained an S rank on the Phoenix Killer mission, but maybe I need an S rank on every mission to unlock this. If you've unlocked this mission, please post in the comments how you unlocked it, and let me know if completing it unlocks more missions. I'll also do the same if I unlock it myself. Now there are several different online options which I can't really speak of, being that I haven't been able to find any matches. I did however play this game on the Nintendo Switch, which I probably should have mentioned before now. And other than Splatoon 2, Smash Bros, and Mario Kart, it seems like every other game I've tried to play multiplayer on the Switch has failed me. It doesn't help that every other reviewer loves to hate on this game, so with all that bad press, there's probably aren't many people playing it anyways. So thanks again, guys. You can, however, play this entire game in couch co-op with up to 4 players. This adds a great deal of enjoyment to the game, but I know unfortunately most people don't always have this option. Now I mentioned earlier that I had a theory, not an excuse as to why the graphical style was so rough. After 10 or so hours into the game and playing a combination of single player and couch co-op with 3 players, there are times when you have 30 plus sprites moving around on screen at one time, and in no time did I ever experience any slowdown or lag. And I played on the Switch, which is a severely underpowered machine. This is pretty crucial to the gameplay and overall experience of the game. The game is very hard, and you will be overwhelmed time and time again. I truly believe that any slowdown or lag would have absolutely ruined the game and made it unplayable. So my theory is that they realized how crucial holding a constant frame rate was to the overall gameplay, and in the end just had to sacrifice the appearance of the game. And once again, this isn't an excuse, because I've spent over 70 hours with the game, and I more than anyone, wish that those 70 hours could have been spent looking at something a little bit prettier. This, in the end, is why I did this review. With Konami's current reputation in the gaming medium, it's easy to pile on and put out a rant video about them. When you see a game that has graphics as rough as Contra Road Corps, it's easy to label it the worst game of the year. All these things are easy because it fits popular narrative, and negative video trends do tend to get more views than positive ones. So when I see all these lazy ass reviewers who barely played the game and then want to make ridiculous statements about this being the worst game of the year and telling people not to buy it, then I decided I needed to spend my spare time telling the other side of the story. Sure, there is plenty wrong with this game and it's far from perfect, but there is a lot of fun to be had here. I know this because I've had a lot of fun with it, and I've talked to countless other gamers who are enjoying this game. So if you are a fan of Contra, or twin stick shooters, or just zombie horde style games, or just games with some fun and unique weapons, then do yourself a favor and give this a try. I would even say it's worth the $40 asking price, but at the same time I'm sure this game will drop in price pretty quickly. So give it a try, and make sure to spend time learning the weapon upgrade system. Thanks for watching.